down at any point. Oh, and well, it just goes wrong for Pons at the end of that first section, and a maximum penalty there of 5 penalty points through that section. Now remember, each time they put foot down, it's 1 penalty point, and they can get up to 3, but once they've put their foot down 3 times, then they get the maximum penalty score of 5, so they may as well give up on that section and go on to the next one. On to the second section now, and that's an excellent clear, so no problems at all there. And he goes on to the third, the boule de granite, boulders of granite, the next section, next zone for Juan Pons. And it gives us an ideal opportunity to watch some of the skills involved in trials riding. Wonderful balance and control on these very specially built motorcycles. They're 250cc machines, very powerful, very torquey engines, the ability to accelerate from standstill, provide plenty of power to try and make the necessary jumps. Now watch this, trying to jump onto the upper boulder. Perfect, makes it look so easy. Drops it back down the other side. And to the finish, and an excellent clear once again. Now this is a very difficult section called tree trunks, this section, and it's certainly making life pretty difficult for most of the competitors. We've got some of the top motorcycle trials riders from the world competing here at Toulouse, including some of the top British riders. Steve Colley amongst them, and we'll be seeing some more of Steve Colley later on. Also competing here, Dougie Lampkin, a new star of British trials riding, and the greatest trials rider of them all, Jordi Tarrés, and we're going to be seeing quite a lot of him just a little bit later on in the program. But let's follow Juan Pons for the moment, 22-year-old Spaniard, who is one of the top riders in the world, finished 3rd in last year's World Championship, and that's an excellent clear through the craters section. Pons continuing through to the 6th zone now, the final zone known as the Temple, and one of the more difficult sections as well. So what can the young Spaniard do here? Riding the Gas machine, the Gas bike, a Spanish manufacturer that has been at the top level of trials bike production for many, many years now. And Juan Pons riding for the Gas team during 1995 in the World Outdoor Trials Championship, but here he is trying to launch the bike onto the next column. Fabulous. Wonderful balance again. Learned a lot from the master, Jordi Tarrés. Finished runner-up to Tarrés in the Spanish Trials Championship last year, 1994. So very much, oh, there's a foot down there, so that's a point against him. Very much a part of the young Spanish talent that's coming into it. Trialing. Marc Colomet is another man from Spain who's one of the top riders in the world at the moment. In fact, the man who leads the Indoor Trials Championship at the moment, Marc Colomet. Not having quite such a good weekend here at Toulouse, but nevertheless taking several victories already in the championship. Now then, Pons, can he complete this section without any more faults? Foot down there, so that's 2 against him now on this section, but he completes the section with 2 penalty points. Good performance from Juan Pons. Well, a runoff competition held at the end. Now this is Juan Pons against the master himself, the man who he's learnt so much from, Jordi Tarrés. Tarrés on the left, nearest the camera, and Juan Pons, the man we've just been watching, on the far side. And this is the La Zone Metallique, the metallic zone, the purely man-made zone. And Jordi Tarrés is the man who gets himself up onto the top initially. Juan Pons is in trouble, can't seem to get it all together. Now, in fact, Pons is going back down, perhaps for another try, as Jordi Tarrés continues over this very, very difficult section. We've seen a lot of competitors in trouble on this part. And this a test for even the 6 times world champion. So nearly, but it just looks impossible. And Tarrés is already, I think, going to take the win on this section. But it really is very, very difficult indeed. Well, Tarrés going through to the final round, but so is British rider Steve Colley, and we'll be back to see them and Tommy Avala in a moment.
Play and win a week's holiday for every year of your life, plus 3 chances to win a week for 4 at Nenda in the Swiss Alps, as well as superb t-shirts. To participate in our winter sports competition, call the Eurosport hotline right now. And good luck.
Welcome back to the indoor trial from Toulouse, held over the weekend here on Eurosport. And we're now into the final round, effectively. We've got 3 riders through to this final round. And the man we're watching at the moment is Tommy Avala from Finland, the 1992 World Trials champion. Oh, foot down there. Going through the temple section. Well, in fact, the craters section they're going through at the moment, and Avala going through with 2 penalty points. Now, here is Jordi Tarrés, the second man in this final runoff. The man who has beaten all the records in world trialing, 6 times the world champion, took his first championship back in '87. And his last 2, in the last 2 years, 1993 and 94. He goes through clear, no problems for him. And here's the third member of the runoff. It's British rider Steve Colley, 22 years old. And he is up against the best in the world here. And he's already had to beat some of the best in the world to get through to this point. So Colley very much in form here. Only his second ride for the Gas team. He's changed bikes from running the Beta in all the recent years. And Colley going through that section, 1 penalty point for him there, but still very much in the hunt. So on to the next section, the tree trunks, and Tommy Avala, first man up. He's finished runner-up to Jordi Tarrés in the last 2 years of the World Trials Championship. And the World Trials Championship is held outdoors in natural terrain, whereas this indoor series is the winter season. And although it is very important, it doesn't carry quite the same importance, the same weight as the World Championship that operates throughout the summer, going all over the world, and where the top riders really have to perform at a very high level all the way through the year to go for overall honours. Well, Avala here, 23 years old now, from Helsinki. And, well, no, it all goes wrong for him. He gets a maximum 5 penalty points on the tree trunk section. Let's see if Jordi Tarrés can do any better here. Tarrés has a very good record here at Toulouse. He's won it 4 times before, in fact, this event. But he's certainly got some good competition this weekend. Steve Colley is watching with interest, and in fact Tavares doesn't make it through either. So now it's Steve Colley, the British rider. What can he do? Oh dear, goes wrong. Very wrong. Well, it's amazing, we don't see that more often, really. And man with a microphone rushes in very quickly indeed to see if he's okay. And he is all right and ready to take on the next challenge. On to the third section, the Boulder Granite section. They're running these sections in the reverse order, remember, on this final run. So we're going backwards. This is section 3, we'll be going to section 2 in a moment. All running in the reverse order in the second round. And Avala, man who won the Indoor Cup a couple of years ago, the 92-93 season. Avala taking victory in that World Cup. It's made up of 14 rounds this year, with the big finale held at Bercy in Paris in March. And Marc Colomet currently leading the series with Jordi Tavares in second position. But Avala was the winner of the other round that we showed here on Eurosport a few weeks ago, at the end of '94. Avala was the winner of the Turin round. So he's still pretty well up in the overall championship. Back with Jordi Tavares once again. Oh, and makes a mistake there, and in fact decides to bail out. So 5 penalty points there for Jordi Tavares. Well, that certainly makes a difference. Avala was a little way behind Tavares until this particular zone. But Avala managed to go through clear. So that's evened things up a bit. And these 3 riders all running fairly close. Now what can Steve Colley do? He's got through that first difficult section okay. Oh, foot down there, so that's 1 penalty point against him. Oh, and he's off, so maximum penalty of 5. So it means they're all getting close together again on the penalties. This is the Plaque de Granit now they're on. What can they do this time? Tommy Avala, first up. Well, these 3 may have made it through to this final run. We see Avala just having to put his foot down there. Man who didn't quite make it through, but very nearly, was Dougie Lampkin, the British 18-year-old who won the British Championship last year, 1994. Son of the only British rider ever to win the World Championship. Martin Lampkin won it back in 1975, the first year of the World Championship. The report that Dougie Lampkin finished in 4th place overall here at Toulouse over the weekend, so good performance from him. But having to watch Avala, oh, and Avala gets it wrong. So it's 5 penalty points to Avala. He decides to finish the zone, but maximum penalty points against him there. So now it's the 28-year-old Spaniard, Jordi Tavares. Very difficult section this. Now, he can leave his foot down as long as he likes. Still only an extra point. He's lost 2 marks so far. But he can leave it down as long as he likes until he decides to put it back on the bike. But now he has to keep both feet on the pegs through to the finish to avoid getting a maximum penalty again on this section. Controlling the clutch with 1 finger. They have a hydraulic clutch, very, very light control. And off he goes. 6-speed gearbox on these 250cc bikes. And yes, look at that. Wow, fabulous from Jordi Tavares. 2 penalty points against him, but a very difficult section. Now then, back with Steve Colley once again. Colley didn't have a very good British Championship in 1994, has to be said. The man who won it the 2 previous years didn't even manage to take 1 win on the championship in 1994. Well, that was impressive, wasn't it? Fabulous. But he finished 9th in the World Championship last year, and this switch to the Gas team certainly seems to be going well for him. He finished 3rd just last weekend at San Sebastian in his first outing for the team, and here he is once again in the final runoff, and it really does seem to be suiting his style. Now then, what can he do? No penalty points against him on this section so far. Oh, and it's just 1 foot down, but still 1 penalty point against him, and that really is impressive stuff. Well, they're all on the same number of penalty points now. They're all on 12 penalty points as we go through. They've got to redecide this. They're going through another couple of sections. They're all on 12 penalty points. It's an incredibly close battle between the 3 of them. Tommi Avala from Finland. That's the next man up on the Pierre de Gare section. There's Steve Colley, number 10, watching his competitor go through, trying to pick up any tips, perhaps having the slight advantage of going 3rd. He can watch the other riders. That's Tara's. Picks his line, bounces the bike around. Tara's the man really who's largely developed this technique of holding the bike steady, balancing it completely still, and then bouncing it into position. Certainly the master of the technique. But he's up against it here today. Avala and Steve Colley on the same number of points as Tara's. So, could this be a dramatic win for Steve Colley in only his 2nd outing for Gas, up against the 6-time world champion here? And the man on the left of the picture with the fist in the air, indicating there are no penalty points yet against Tara's on this section. This is a great performance, and he goes through clear. So Avala got 1 penalty point on that section. Tara's goes through clear. What can Steve Colley do now? The pressure on a little bit. They're all even before this section. Tara's now an advantage over Avala, but what can Steve Colley do? Well, that's looking good. No points against him so far. That's okay, his foot's still on the peg. Hasn't actually come off the peg and onto the surface of the obstacle. You can see the front tyre there. Look how they run a very low pressure in the tyres to give them as much contact patch, much area of tyre on the surface as possible. Makes it a little easier to balance. And oh, through he goes. Great performance. 0 the score. And he clears it. So Tara's and Colley are neck and neck here as they go on to the temple section. Well, Avala needs to try and do well. Oh, he puts a foot down. Already 1 penalty point behind the other 2. But the other 2 still neck and neck. Avala's spotter there, the man just guiding him, talking him through a little bit, positioning the bike. There you can see the officials indicating 1 penalty point so far to Avala in this section. And he clears the rest of it. So just one penalty point against him now. Tavares and Colli, neck and neck. Nothing in between them in their score so far. And both of them are only 1 point ahead of Avala. Neither can afford a mistake. They're deciding who's going to go into the runoff. There's only one more section after this. And that's only if they're clear, if there's a tie between two of them. So Tavares needs to clear this if he's to make sure of getting into the final runoff. Tavares very much wants to win this event. He's lying second in the championship at the moment. That's great. He's gone through clear. So now the pressure is on Steve Colli. What can a British rider do here? He's got to go through clear if he's to take the battle to Jordi Tavares through to the very final runoff section, which is against the clock. So if they both manage to clear it, then it will be the fastest one who wins the event outright. And this is very unusual for the competition to go this far down the line with the riders still absolutely together in terms of score. And it just goes to show what a superb performance Colli is putting in on the gas. Same type of bike as Jordi Tavares rides, Spanish manufacturer. And he goes through clear, and he sets up a final between himself and Jordi Tavares. So let's see what happens. It's Tavares on the left. Oh, Colli has not made a good start here in the final section. This bit is against the clock as well, but they've got to try and clear it. It's points and time that count on this one. The only section where the time really comes into it. And Colli is struggling. Well, a bit further on into this section, and we can see that Colli has closed up the ground. But Tavares is going to come through and take the victory. Yes, Jordi Tavares wins it well. Tavares taking the victory from Steve Colli, but a superb performance from them both.